Hi there! Today's video is going to be about the second season of Dirty John, Betty. So if you haven't seen the show, spoiler warning. Specifically, I'll be talking about social contract theory and a very human response when you violate it. By the way, whilst talking about this, I am talking about the TV show and the events in the TV show. I am not making any assumptions, I am not making any judgments on the real life events. I am just talking about the TV show. So, for the love of God, please don't hate spam my comments. Essentially, social contract theory is the agreement we have in society that establishes moral and political behavior. This allows us to exist in society with morals without the need for divine intervention or something mystical about it that gives us our morals. It's you don't push in front of me in line, I don't start throwing shit at walls. There are a lot of examples of social contract theory in modern society and the consequences of violating it. The most recent argument that comes to mind regarding social contract theory are the recent riots in the US, specifically the words spoken by Kimberly Jones.
There's a social contract that we all have, that if you steal or if I steal, then the person who is the authority comes in and they fix the situation. But the person who fixes the situation is killing us. So the social contract is broken. And if the social contract is broken, why the f do I give a shit about burning the Football Hall of Fame, about burning a Target?
I've actually put a link down in the description if you want to hear the whole speech. I highly recommend it. Social contract theory is a living, breathing part of our society. And I think the show Betty actually does a great demonstration on what happens when you violate it. Now, the character Betty does a lot of things that aren't really good. She spray paints a house, leaves several awful terrible lists of words on an answering machine, covers one house in gasoline shortly before crashing into another, smashes all of their Christmas presents, and smears a 10-inch
little 8-inch cake
all over his bed and one of his suits. I am in no way saying that any of these things are any less crazy than they are, which is extremely. But I don't think they're that insane if you compare them to the violation in their social contract. In the show, Dan also does a bunch of things that aren't really great.
I tried not to.
Don't get me wrong, I am in no way, shape or form saying that he deserved to get shot or that he had it coming. But I do believe that Betty's actions are a lot more rational as a response to his than most people think they are. Dan does several tricky things to get his way throughout the show. He puts deposits on all the lawyers in the area so she can't hire them. He sends her on holiday that marks her as an obstruction so he can settle the house without her knowledge. He hides several details about their hearings and even lies about a postponement, that way he can get a no-fault divorce, even though he's the one at fault. And that's just the legal stuff.
I tried not to.
He finds her monthly paycheck so that he can control her. He cheats on her and then he gaslights her into thinking that she's crazy. Once again, I am not saying he deserved any of the stuff she did to him, but I do think her responses are a lot more rational if you consider them as responses to those things. When you get married, you essentially become a team. The show demonstrates this constantly.
Right, but we can't afford it.
Well, if we really tighten our belts for the rest of the month, we can.
Not to get into the whole ethics angle of cheating in a miserable marriage, but it is a clear violation of a social contract. But more importantly is what he does after this. After he cheats on her, he gaslights her. Gaslighting is essentially manipulating somebody into doubting their own sense of reality and memory. Now, he gaslights her, but he gaslights her into thinking that she's just crazy.
Or that I'm not crazy.
I have no idea how to fix this, Bets. I can't prove that something's not true, that it doesn't exist. I can't prove that I'm not doing something that you seem to want me to be doing.
You were right the whole time.
Not only do I think that's a clear violation of a social contract between a married couple, but it's also a clear violation between people. We don't try to convince each other that we're crazy. But that's the thing. Once a social contract is broken, what's stopping the other party from just acting crazy? All Betty is doing is reacting. She's reacting to him. What incentive does she have to react normally when he's doing things that are kinda nefarious? He manipulates her into thinking they're on okay terms, so he can send her on a trip, so he can call an emergency court hearing, mark her as an obstruction, and then sell her house without her even knowing about it. He doesn't even tell her when she gets back, so she crashes her car into the front of his house. Now, I do agree that her crashing her car into the front of his house is batshit insane, but it's kind of like speeding. If somebody is speeding and they crash their car, it makes sense. I'm not saying that they deserve it, but it makes sense. Did the thing, so the other thing happened. Dan's actions are so reliant on her being better than him, and she's not. And I think the show is actually aware of this. In the final episode, Perception is Reality, we actually get to see Betty imagining an alternative timeline where she goes through and makes the right decisions. And the majority of them line up with what she was socially obligated to do. Betty doesn't drive her car into Dan's house, so her lawyer doesn't leave her. She shows up to the divorce hearing, so she doesn't get a no-fault divorce. She asks the receptionist what's going on instead of just attacking her. She doesn't ditch her kids at his house, and as a result, she doesn't lose them. And Dan tells her the truth instead of gaslighting her.
I'm in love with her.
These things aren't just the right choices, they're the things we're socially obligated to do. And I think that's a big point in the show. Hey, thanks for watching. That was a fun video to make. I'm trying to get on a more bi-weekly schedule, and hopefully that's going good so far. If not, I filmed this outro before I finish the video, so let's see how this goes. By the way, it will mean the absolute world to me if you share, like, or subscribe, or comment down below, because that would be nice and fantastic and lovely of you, you lovely people. What's that?
Hey! Hey you!
What?
Fuck you, man!
Fight me!
Alright then!
Oh, I made so many mistakes there.